Yeah, what it do, baby? Welcome to Untitled Army. Thank you guys for liking, watching, and subscribing. And today we're talking about a leader that recently topped in the South Florida. What tournament were we at? We were in a store championship, and we brought the best of the best. South Florida is very competitive, and Alex here went undefeated with who?
Blue Baby.
Exactly. So that's Alex, VSA boy, on your left, and then on the bottom down here is Thomas. What's up, big dog? Okay, so we're gonna talk about that leader today because I feel like a lot of times, especially myself, we get caught up in like I'm a huge meta slave, and I feel like if you're playing blue, you're playing these two leaders. If you're playing red, you're playing these two leaders. So if you're thinking of a leader that, if I may say so myself, isn't getting played that much, I feel like Baby is one that just doesn't see any play, and that's one of the weird ones that I feel like could get played that could be really good, including what's the other one that I like? SS3 Goku I like. For some reason I like Bojack and SS2 Gohan, but that's for another day. And Baby's there as well. Do you guys have any thoughts before we get into the deck on why you like Baby? Why do you think it's good in this meta? Thomas, do you have anything on this leader, or maybe the color on this meta, anything at all that Baby offers? Have you ever played the deck at all?
I mean, I've never played Baby. Like, I don't mess with blue too much. Like, I've played the SS4 list a little bit, and like, you know, currently working on like the SS3 Goku ramp there. I mean, I think Baby, even before, like, you know, after the errata, it's still got like a lot of good tools there. Like, it's still a really strong deck.
Yeah,
but I've never played it myself. I'm not much of a blue player.
And we're going to go into the errata, because I used to play Baby a lot. I lived Baby. So, Alex, any thoughts on Baby? Why would you pick Baby? What do you like about it? And then we'll talk about the errata when we get to the field in a minute.
Yeah, so I like Baby because, first of all, he's from Dragon Ball GT. I prefer that show over Super. So, I mean, I want to build all the GT villains. Baby was one of them. And a reason why I like this deck is because this meta is very control-oriented. So, being able to play very control-y and prevent your opponent from doing things, it's very good in this meta.
Yeah.
So, and the toolbox cards that this deck has, in the fact that it has 8 D-Magics pretty much, 4 of which draw you a card, is really good.
Yeah, I remember buying those.
You can play some of the Floodgate negates for 1 less energy, which coming down early, say it later, but coming down early, those Floodgate negates are really good.
Yeah, I got lucky. I bought those like in 2020, 2021, like when that deck was a lot cheaper. I bought all those promos for like cents, well, dollars, and then it went up later, so I got lucky with that.
Yeah, but I had to pick mine up for like $9 each.
Yeah, that sucks. All right, so here, let me see, and we're gonna go into the deck right away. And before we go into the deck, we're gonna go into the leader. The front side is regular Baby. When you play this card in your drop in your leader area, you're gonna activate your field card, the Planet Tuffle, from your deck. When he attacks, he draws one, and that's it. And then the Awakening is if your life is at 4 or less, so you can draw 2 cards and flip him over. I really like that. He doesn't need the untap, I think, because you're playing on your opponent's turn. And on the back side, he's got Overlord. When this card attacks, you draw a card, and then activate main once per turn. You can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 mono blue card with a counter skill among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then choose 1 card from your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. This is sick nasty because, like, you can literally pick your Baby Hatch secret rare off of that effect, and that's so sick that I miss that effect so much, dude. I miss playing that. And I know, like, the bottom deck used to help out with some of the Baby Chain stuff, but I don't know if that's what Alex is doing. So let's go right into the deck. This is literally the deck profile. So before we go into the deck, can you tell us a little bit about this Planet Tuffle? Here, let me read it off, and then you're gonna tell me what the errata is. So this field, which is live turn 1 or turn 0, whatever. If your leader card is a blue Baby, which it is, and you have no battle cards in play, the orange text is the errata, and all of your energy is mono blue. When activating a counter skill of a mono blue card with an energy cost 5 or less from your hand, reduce the energy cost of that card by 1. So if you have no battle cards in play, your counter skills get 1 less energy on the cost. And then activate main. You can add a card from your life to your hand, and then choose 1 card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. Alright, yeah, Alex, that seems about right? They just made it so that you can't use this with a board.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing that the errata was is that your board has to be empty to do your negates. So you don't play a whole lot of the battle card negates anymore. From how I saw the deck was played before, they would spam out the battle card negates and then just go heavy aggro against you. But you can't really do that anymore. You have to play it, and it's gonna sound boring, but it's blue. Blue is very passive in most of its decks. You have to play the game very slow until you can get to like turn 5, 6, 7 when you're just dropping like Kale or Astral Tyrant, King Cold, stuff like that. But no, you just have to have no battle cards. If you play a battle card that negates your opponent, then you just combo it off. Get it off your board so that you can do more stuff.
So as far as your matchups, I think it's cool that you actually beat a really good Cell deck. Because green is usually really good against blue. Can you talk about the other decks that you played? I mean, we have a really good local, but I don't remember what you played. Do you remember what you played, first of all? I didn't set you up for that. I'm sorry.
I played versus Reboot Cell in the final round. I played versus...
I know that there was UI Goku, there was Yellow Trunks. I forget who played what. I should have warned you that I was going to ask you that, but... I mean, the deck...
I played against Reboot Cell. I played against Starter Vegeta, Mikey.
Oh, yeah, like Red Agret, yeah.
And I played against Johan when he played...
Gamma.
Gamma 1 and 2.
Oh, that's an interesting matchup. Okay, yeah. All right, so right off the bat, we have the 4 Boo Unison. This is really good. I mean, obviously defensively. I don't think you can play blue without playing this guy. You have the 4 Gatsio. That makes sense. Okay, first question is going to be Zeno Unison. You like this over the Vegeta Draw 2? I think I agree with you, but anything you have in mind to talk about as far as that decision goes?
So, the super combo for Zeno, I think, is just the correct super combo for this deck. You're drawing a good amount of cards with the draw monkeys that are in the deck. You're drawing a good amount of cards with your Unison, with your leader swing. You can draw a lot in the deck. So, the Zeno super combo, I just think it's correct because going into a later turn when you're tapping out for something, if they do swing into your leader, you might just let it through so you can pick something up, put it down, and now you have energy to play with again. The hardest turn for this deck is turn 4, I would say, because you're tapping out to play Unison, and then you untap only 1 energy, so sometimes the Zeno might help let you pick one up, put one down.
Yeah.
So this Zeno just allows you to keep going with your defenses.
And you also have no need to talk about, you guys, if you're going to play this deck, the 4 D Magic make total sense, the 4 Revenge Big Bang Attack make total sense. I mean, like he said, you're playing 8 D Magics, and 4 of them draw you a card. He put it perfectly. That's amazing.
The Revenge Big Bang Attack is stupid. The fact that it
it's really dumb.
Untaps 2 and draws a card as well is ridiculous because you're just going through your deck so fast. So, like, you read the leader effect where you look at the top 3 for a negate, and then you bottom deck 2. In this deck, you can, if you have a good memory, you can remember which cards are bottom decked in what order. Like, when I get into the late game, like, let's say early I see King Cold Astral Tyrant close to the top. I might put it down near the bottom of my stack there, so that when I see the cards that were on top of it, I go, oh, okay, I'm going to draw into a King Cold soon, so let me not use my active main on my leader.
Yeah, fair.
Let me just wait until I draw into it.
Now, I do want to say something really quick. Alex doesn't own a Baby Hatch. He would probably use a Baby Hatch. He owns a Kai, so he built a deck because he likes this leader, and if you guys are trying to build this leader, no, he's not being like... He's not trolling you. He just literally doesn't own a Baby Hatch. But, so, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think, like, I'm huge on, like, using Baby Hatch, but it's getting a reprint. So if you guys are trying to play this leader, I would definitely, I think it's okay now that the card's getting reprinted. It's more accessible, definitely. And the fact that it's tutorable with the leader is insane. I see 2 Dirty Burst here. I mean, that's obvious. I think, like, playing against Sin Shenron, Dirty Burst is amazing. Against any other, like, control matchup, maybe UI Goku. Any thoughts on this card? Did you get to use it?
Oh, the Dirty Burst is, in this meta, it's insane. You gotta play at least 2 Dirty Bursts.
Yeah.
If you're playing blue in this
Need
meta.
that card. Like I felt like that card used to be like sideboard tech here and there, but I think it's 100% a main board card now. In every
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this meta, you need to main board it because UI has 8 drops or higher, GT has 8 drops or higher, Cell has 8 drops or higher, Gamma 1 and 2 have 8 drops or higher,
Yeah.
and all these things have deflect. So counterplays don't really hit them, but dirty burst affects the player, so you can stop them from swinging with them, which is insane. Like, and it draws a card too. I mean, like,
Yeah,
why
really
not?
good.
So,
Would you play more than 2 Realm of Gods, Beers Destroys, or are you good with that too?
I think the 2 is fine. I might
Okay.
entertain one, but it depends.
Oh, you'd go
It depends.
down.
I like the 2.
Okay.
I think the 2 is correct.
All right.
Now,
What?
you mentioned something about Baby Hatch. I do really like Kai of Time. It's not searchable like Baby Hatch. That's obviously the big thing about Baby Hatch. But the Kai of Time, the issue with the deck is if your opponent starts getting their ball rolling and they're an explosive deck, like in my game 2 I was playing against Mikey, who was playing Starter Vegeta, which is a very aggressive deck, very fast. So I'm going to go through my resources really fast. But on turn 2, he Broly crowned me. And he looked at my hand and he saw the Kai of Time after
Yeah.
he charged 2 Unisons and played his Piccolo Jr. Unison. So he
Yeah.
saw the Kai of Time and then he's like looking at his board and he's like,
And that
why?
sucks
Now I'm gonna lose
because
my everything.
and it
So-
sucks because he has to swing with leader first and then swing with Unison to get the double strike. So he's opening himself up to the Kai. So he's just not gonna
Well,
swing
I
with
couldn't
the
Kai
Unison.
him that turn, but he knew his board was gone the next turn.
Oh, I
That was the
understand.
issue.
Yeah.
like Hatch is really good to just stop your opponent from doing anything else that turn, but like the fear of Kai, like you having to rebuild an entire board, especially after Baby makes you go to like turn 5, 6, 7, where most decks don't want to go anyway, and then like on like turn 7, completely nuking their board, Unison included, and make them rebuild all that while you've got 15 cards in hand.
Yeah,
And-
it's really good. I get that it's not searchable. I'm gonna have to actually legit when I get a Baby Hatch, I'll have to play them both and see how I like them. But I really like the idea of being able to take away my opponent's board.
Cool. And one thing I want to ask about, because people are watching this, they want to play Baby. How much do you think of a detriment it is that the field spell only works if you have no battle cards on board? Like how much? And honestly, tell me how bad do you think it is?
I don't think it's that big of a deal because you can keep. Okay, so when you look at the deck, it's mostly extra card negates. Like you have the Dirty Burst, you have the D Magics, you have the Mafu Buzz. You even have this Champ Strikes Back that I tech one of them in just because early game it'll negate. Your opponent's not really going to want to rest their energy. They're going to want to start getting their ball rolling, so they'll let you get it back. And it can be multiple negates in a game, pretty much.
So negate the attack,
So-
and then your opponent may choose one of their cards in active mode, one of their cards, any card,
Yep.
and switch it to rest mode. If they don't, add this card to your hand from your drop area, and you can use it for the turn. So it's like a double. It's like getting your negate
so-
back if they don't drop. Yeah.
So in game 1 versus Gamma 1 and 2, he was swinging pretty fast, but turn 2 I think it was, on his second to last attack, on his last attack, he swung with the critical 18. Well, I was at 5 life and I negated with Champ Strikes Back, and I'm like, you can either rest your only energy,
Yeah.
or you can give me my card. And he
That's
gave me
sick.
the card back, so I'm just like, okay, now I have another negate.
That's sick.
for the future.
In a world where a critical is supposed to take a resource out of your hand and actually like net you a really cool.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. It literally,
It's
just
true,
lost
right?
the swing.
It didn't do anything. You're right. Yeah. So the 3
So-
Mafuba I think is like literally good. Like 3 Mafuba makes total sense in this deck. I mean,
Yeah, and as for battle cards, you'll see like the only battle cards that are gonna hit board are Son Gohan Baby's minion, which I can overlord away the next turn to draw a card.
yes.
I have Vegeta Ready to Rumble, which is a blocker floodgate. Vegeta Ready to Rumble, pretty much the reason that you can play this for 3 energy is because of the field spell. Being able to play this on turn 3, your opponent's pretty much gonna end their turn. They don't want to give up energy on turn 3.
Being able to
Especially
play,
if you were the player that went first.
dude, Heroic Prospect on 2. Comfortably.
And, yeah, her
Yeah.
Prospect on 2 is really good.
Yeah,
against a lot
Baby's
of
minion
decks.
on 2, dude. I think,
Baby's
yeah,
minion
that's
on
sick.
2, her Prospect on 2. These are all really good cards for early game, and then, like I said, you can just combo them off. Like,
Hey, man.
the Heroic Prospect, I
Yeah.
typically will swing with my leader and then just combo it off the next turn. Same with the Ready to Rumble. If they didn't swing and then blocked and it died, I will just combo it off the next turn.
So, real question, why don't you play, because when I played this deck, I really loved the Baby counterplay, the Goten counterplay. I think you should be playing the Goten counterplay. That guy rocks. Or am I crazy?
They're good. It's just that they're bodies that stick on the board, and I'd rather extra card negates that
Cool.
aren't
So you're
on the board
adapting
because
to
of
the errata.
because
Okay.
of the errata.
Cool. Okay, the 2 Kale is like 3 Kale is like obvious. I mean, Kale's insane. You're putting her at 3, so you really want to see her that turn 5 or 7. Like, you really want
Yeah,
to see
so like I said with the Zeno, you can so another application of the Zeno super combo is that you can charge these big threats early in the game
Yeah.
without any remorse because you can pick
Toolbox.
them up later. You don't
Swiss
care.
Army. Yeah.
So when you hit turn 5, turn 6, 5 and 6, it doesn't ignore barrier on the board wipe, but if they don't have barrier and they're just going tall decks, you can get rid of their board. But on turn 7, getting rid of their entire board on turn 7, then doing it on turn 8, then doing it on turn 9, I've had people where I've played 2 kills in a row on them and they're just like, well shit, now I have to deal with 3 30k double strike swings and I just lost my board twice.
Yeah.
Kill is easily the best kill card in this deck.
So be honest, is it one baby Avenger because you own one, or is it because you truly have him at 1?
I own 4, but 1
Oh,
is
shit,
enough
okay.
because it's searchable.
Oh, right, duh. I keep forgetting. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can search Gold Vendor. Also, it's actually because one of my buddies who was looking at the deck, he's like, "Why did you tap 5? Why didn't you tap 4? It has 5 dots. You can't reduce
Yeah.
it below 5, so
I know.
it's a 5 cost. It's kind of expensive. I don't really like tapping that much. I get that I can, revenge Big Bang Attack or demagic my energy back up, but I still don't like tapping 5 too much. So the 1 is fine. You can search it if anything. So I mean,
Nope, I get it.
it's fine at 1.
One of the spiciest thing here, that it's on your main board, is the 2 King Cold Astral Tyrants. I understand why you have it. I know it's a great idea. Did you actually get to play it on someone and have it work?
So the day before, I was playing this deck on Untapped for like 2 or 3 weeks or something with Chris, like testing the deck out. And Astral Tyrants, something that he suggested adding because he was looking at it himself for his SS3 reboot deck. Now Astral Tyrant was really good because yes, it even though it doesn't outright, if it won't outright win you a game, the fact that it mills 5, you can mill important cards off your opponent's deck, which is insane. Like Chris in one of our games that we played today actually, or last night when I was at his house, something like that, when we were playing right before locals, store champ today. He Astral Tyranted, he milled off, when I was playing Baby, he milled off the Turning the Tide that I had on my side, he milled off a Kale, he milled off my SCR, and he milled off 2 negates.
Well, I think this is really good, at least on a sideboard against decks like Boma.
And the thing is, yeah, and I was about to say, and then there's a lot of decks that are playing more slow control-y,
Yeah.
Draw a lot, and that can punish them. Like, into a deck, like you said, like Boma, that draws a shit ton, telling them mill 5 is a really good effect. Going into yellow, you have to tell them you better have the Super 17 SCR or I'm going to play this and you're going to mill 5.
Yeah.
Going into decks that draw a lot, this punishes them. I've won games off of it where my opponent's on like 6 or 7 cards and I just play it and I say, yeah, mill 5, now you have 2 left in deck, so you're going to draw for turn. You can't swing with your leader because you're going to draw a card.
Yeah, game's over, yeah. And also, you having it here...
You're like, okay, kill me now or you're going to die next turn.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you having it here with Oceanus, I wonder if 4 is too much, because like we were talking about earlier, how like so many cards answer this, but it is really good in this deck, but it's a blocker, so it's not like it's a body that you're going to have to deal with. I mean, it's going to leave immediately, right?
Yeah, so I comboed off if they don't attack through it. Most people just end their turn because
Yeah,
I normally don't play this super early. I'll wait till late game to play this because when my opponent's down to like 14 cards in deck, they're not going to swing. And even if they answer it with the Oceanus, the reason why I have the monkeys next to it is because they're in here together. If I Oceanus negate, and then I discard a monkey, and now you're counterplaying, I really don't care. I still negated the attack. I'll have other negates in my hand typically I'll do it when I don't care if you counterplay it. Because now I'm going to throw a monkey away, I'll draw 2 next turn, I don't care if it gets counterplayed because I have other counters in my hand. It's really good because late game, it ends your opponent's turn. They are not going to keep swinging.
Yeah,
And
true.
if they do, you're just going to win.
And then I saw you play, I think, all of your Great Apes when you were playing against Cell. This is cool to have on your main board. There's a couple cards you don't have here
God.
that I totally would have. But there's cards also that you have here that I think that I would now have, now that I'm looking at your deck. that I would be like, you know what? I think I would play this. This is really cool. So these came in really handy for you against green.
Oh yeah, the monkeys were dumb in that cell matchup. He
Yeah.
put me to because the thing is Diego, he plays more of a hand control-y cell deck, while
Yeah.
turn 5 he's gonna perfect 4 cells. That's what they all do. It's a very linear deck, but before then he still hand controls you down because he doesn't want you doing stuff. He plays like Bionic Blitz as his super combo. He plays Deity's Wrath in his deck, which a lot of cell players don't play Deity's Wrath, but he plays Deity's Wrath. So he stuck a Deity's Wrath on the board turn 3, and he was Bionic Blitzing me, and he was just taking my hand away. I think on my turn 4, I had like 1 or 2 cards in hand. Like,
Yeah, you came back from that really
won,
because
I only won because I had 2 monkeys in the drop area, and I just started drawing my hand back,
getting the
after he
game
ran
back
cards
into your
his hand.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as the sideboard here, pretty I mean, the beans are. Oh, I just forgot. You don't have beans on the main. That you're crazy. You're an animal.
I don't need them in the main. I
Yeah,
don't want
right.
to let attacks through.
Yeah. True. I mean, you negate stuff. You're not really a combo. Yeah, that's cool.
So the side is also something I'm working on because,
Yeah.
like I said, the deck was something that I'd been testing. I didn't bring it to a real event until the night before the Sword Champ.
Fair.
So the side is something I'm still working on.
So
But
yeah. I'll talk about the cards I think that should maybe stay or whatever. I like the 2 Jirans.
Yeah, that's just for the blue matchups.
Yeah, that's cool.
You play Turning the Tide against me. I have 3 answers for Turning the Tide, actually, because I either tap 2 for Jiren, or I will tap 5 for Golden Avenger. Like against Gamma, he went Turning the Tide, and I said Golden Avenger, bottom decked his big guy that he just played, the Turning the Tide, and then I drew a card after it.
Hell
so
yeah.
it was just like, okay, now I have a triple striker, you lost your body, and I drew a card.
Yeah, I like. So here, let me bring him back here to Discord. So how do you guys feel about? I feel like the game is getting to a point where I don't think the game's boring. I don't at all. But I do think that maybe we're coming to a point where we know what the best decks are, and we're starting to like adapt to them. Like we know Yellow Trunks, we know UI Goku's there. We know what's a blue leader? What's Gamma? I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Those
Yeah.
two.
Cooler and King Cold, I could say, are green. Black has Trunks, barely. But, like, I feel like this is one of those decks that, like, if you don't want to play those 5 leaders, this is one of those decks. Like, Thomas, I know you're playing, for example, like Yellow Turles. And I've seen some really cool lists with Yellow Turles. And I've seen in your deck things that you're playing that I think that mirror some of those great stuff. Like, some of the yellow-green stuff you're doing reminds me of Nico. And I think this is one of those decks that, like, if you know the meta, I feel like you can take total advantage. And I know I play UI Goku, so, like, Alex, I'm sure you build some stuff around that. So...
I mean, that's why the beans on the side. It's for
Right.
aggro like UI Goku.
Exactly, right? So what do you guys think, if someone's playing this deck, and you have tryhards at locals, what's the matchup here against Yellow Trunks, for example? I think Yellow Trunks gets played the most, right? I think out of the yellow matchup.
So, funnily enough, when I play against Yellow, I try to play expensive negates so I can beat out their cooler counter-counters,
Yeah.
and then play other negates afterwards, because they're less likely to counter a D-Magic than they are to
body.
counter a Ready to Rumble
Yes.
or an Oceanus. They're
That's
more likely to
interesting.
counter those, so I might have, like, say, D-Magic to Revenge Big Bang Attacks or Heroic Prospect, some stuff like that, but then I might go, I'll do the Oceanus first, knowing it's going to get counter-countered to bait it out. With Yellow, you have to play very resource managemently.
Yeah.
And also you side in the Turning the Tides. Like, the Turning the Tides that are in the side deck, you take out a couple cards, and you put in the Turning the Tides. Because
I was thinking...
you need to drop that against Yellow.
I was thinking Gotenks Unison, maybe? That blue one?
Gotenks Unison,
the blue
4-drop, right?
Because
so the 4-drop is good. The thing is that that Unison is just like the best.
Way better.
Unison
Oh, I know.
But the untapped, the fact that it's a blocker is actually insane, because you'll floodgate your opponent with the Ready to Rumble, with the Baby's Minion, with the Oceanus, and so now that not only will they have the floodgate to deal with, but they'll have 1 to 2 blockers to deal with.
So I'm thinking of barrier removal. Intoxicated by Justice, maybe, to get rid of some of the 1-drops for Yellow Trunks.
Well,
maybe, yeah.
That's actually why I play Kami in the side deck right now. So my side deck
Oh,
isn't
cool.
quote-unquote optimal, right
Cool.
now. I had to build it with stuff in my binder, but the Kami actually plays really well in this deck specifically because you tap one, deflect, cantrip, draws one, whatever. That's not the important. The important thing is you can tap two to board wipe all 4 or lesses, ignoring barrier, and that includes himself. So you're getting him off the board. So now your counters are 1 less.
That's sick.
Which is
That's
actually
funny.
a big deal in this deck. Clearing your own guy is
Yeah.
actually relevant in this deck.
That's so dumb. And
like-
yeah.
Against the yellow is like we were talking about before. Is like blue. If you can just take them, like yellow is good with playing like the mid range game and the late game, but against blue, like once you get to like that turn 6, 7, 8, blue's cards are just better in the late game than yellows are. And
Yeah,
you
it's
can
like
just
kale.
Like, like yellow is really good in the mid range game from like turn 4 to like turn 6, but after that, like that's where blue shines and like you just trample all over them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. In the yellow matchups, if I get to turn 7, I'm just gonna kill them back to back. I'm gonna go kill. I'm gonna go kill. I'm gonna go kill. Like they might live the first 2, whatever. But when they're constantly losing their board, they can't keep up with that.
And you're not giving him a lot of combo either, because your deck is like all negates also.
Exactly. So I don't have to really waste my hand comboing. And when I play the kills, I can just swing 30k double strike to their face. Now they have to waste their hand comboing.
So
And then when I play they have to rebuild their board, and then I kill them again, and now they have to waste their hand comboing. So it's like after like turn 6, if you get past turn 6 against yellow, you should win the game.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
And again, since Shenron, I think that like having a freaking either a God Seal or a Dirty Burst, like Dirty Burst followed by Kefla, is like insane.
oh yeah, no,
Yeah, it's
Dirty
like
Burst
pretty
is
much-
insane into that matchup because they can't tap 6.
Okay.
If they see, because one of the things you can do is you can charge your Dirty Burst to show them I main deck this card.
Yeah.
Don't tap 6. And then you might not even have it in your hand, and they might be thinking, oh fuck, what if he has one in his hand? Because you can definitely play the mind game where your opponent is thinking, shit, does he have God Seal? Does he have Dirty Burst? Hell, I've even had people clear my Bunison, and then they still don't want to commit because they know I will tap for it.
Yeah, I'll
God
tap
Seal
5
is
for it
too
too.
good.
Yeah.
The God Seal is too good to not tap for, and I mean, the fact that in this deck, it's technically a 4-drop. It's not a 5-drop in this deck. I can tap
Oh,
4 for God Seal
hilarious!
in this deck.
Right, because I've tapped
So-
5 for it before. You can ask Chris about that. So we talked about red.
I've seen you tap 5. Now, one of the cards I should be running that I don't because Chris took it, and I don't own more than 2, is Ultra Instinct Goku the Unstoppable.
Yeah.
That is an amazing barrier removal card. That can't be countered because its skill can't be negated in any area. And when it hits the board, it hits anything off the board, ignoring barrier.
Well,
like,
so
it can
does
hit
your ape.
Deflect it.
But it can get hit. So I know what you mean. I
can
see what
get
you're
hit.
saying. Yes. Okay.
It can get hit, yes.
Yeah.
But it can't be countered. So like into yellow, when they try to go
Is
for something...
Goku Unstoppable a 3-drop?
It's a 3-drop in my deck. It's a 4-drop normally.
Because I thought it was 4 blue. It's not. Oh, cool.
No, it's I think it has 2 blue dots, but it's
Wow.
in my deck it's a 3-drop. So
Wow.
that's why I
wow.
want to run it in the deck. But Chris was like, I need it for Store Champ, so I don't want to use it.
Big dummy. Okay, cool. So we have that against UI Goku. We can think about those guys. I mean, it's kind of the same, and then Bean early on, I guess. The cool thing about you is that you're not SS4 Vegeta, meaning you can play some black cards. Like, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, like, oh, what can I do against red aggro, maybe? Like, I mean, it's not out of existence. Like, if you're afraid of Vegeta, Resolve Renewed, or whatever, or you're afraid of whatever counterplay, and you want to play an extra card, you can play the black Protector of the People card. If you want, like, I don't know, if you want an extra card to get, you could. Senzu Bean is a thing against, let's see, green is, okay, so green you prepared interestingly for, because you actually beat the cell, so you already gave us a little of insight on it, and part of that was,
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
cell matchup.
yeah.
I mean, for black cards, and one of the stupid cards you see in my side that probably is gonna leave is I have a not even a scratch in there. Which, funnily enough, I
What's
had
not
it
even a
put in
scratch?
my side deck.
I know
for
that
the
card,
thought.
what is that?
I had that. So basically, not even a scratch says like it's a counter attack that negates the attack, but it's basically a draw monkey. It's a Bardock the
Oh, of
Eliminator.
course,
It
the black
draws
card,
one,
yes.
and I warp it from the draw.
Yes, yeah, that card, yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually sided that in against Cell, and I did use it, and I did draw the one card
Oh,
because it was
funny.
relevant against
Funny.
Cell. So it worked.
Funny.
It's probably gonna
Awesome.
leave the side, but it's there.
That rocks. I mean, you're actually, you have to negate the leader attack, I guess. You know, like, it sucks to get critted, right? So, that's cool that you're doing it. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're shitting. The monkeys were there. Let me see. We got red. We got green. Black is not really. Have you faced any black recently? Black has been just so MIA
is
nowadays.
a really big spot right now. Like
Yeah.
Black, they murdered Black.
Yeah,
with
they
that
fucked
last
up.
ban.
Yeah.
Like it takes a dedicated pilot to be good with Black right now. You can't just pick up Black and expect to be really good. Yeah, like Thomas over here playing Dabura swap and rocking my
That's
cheeks.
cool though. The Boral swap is. I feel like there is a place for black leaders that people haven't read. So like that's why Finn did so well recently because people were just like
Well,
not trying.
the thing is that
Aaron,
the issue with Black is that people were not experimenting with any decks that weren't Black Sands for the right reason. I mean, Black Sands were broken, but now that thwarting's down to 1, and what was the other one that they banned? The
one that comes out. I know.
The little one.
Yeah.
Now that those cards are basically limited and gone, people aren't really going to Black because they can't play Fearless Fusion in the Trunks leader because he's part Earthling and that thing says Black Saiyan only leader. So most people just went, okay, we're off of Black. What's the next deck that we can play that's cheap aggro? Oh, let's go to Red. So that's why you see a lot more Red now. And I mean, Black is good if you have a dedicated pilot that knows the deck, because there's decks like Meki Kabura, like the Burra swap is also a good deck if you're used to it. There's Black decks around there, but I think I can manage against
Thomas, what were you gonna say? I know you were playing the swap Dabura deck, which like nobody has read yet. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that because somebody just topped with Finn. I feel like from people just not reading the fucking deck. So what do you think about
What do I think about what?
What do you think about the Dabura deck? Because I know you were playing it a lot, and that's one of those decks that, like he said, nobody plays because it's not a Saiyan.
I mean, I like from the time that it was released, like I really like the Dabura deck, and like the swap engine is really good. Like when you first look at it on paper, it looks like you neg really bad with everything you do, because when you swap, you have to bottom deck a card, which looks really bad. And technically, like none of the cards on it say draw 1 card, but every single card you play says look at the top 3, take a card from it.
Awesome.
So you're actually getting a card every single time, and like with when you swap. When you come in, like you swap into the 3-drop poutine, that when you swing, you're going to pop the token anyway, draw a card. So you don't neg on that. And when you swap into the Toa, it draws a card. And if you don't want to pitch 2 battle cards or 2 cards from hand, I'm going to steal your Unison.
So
like in the early game, the way the leader is designed with the alternate awakening seems kind of weird because, if your opponent is awakened, which most of the decks now are turbo awakening, if your opponent's awakened, you can awaken. You draw down to 4. And then when you awaken, you draw 2 cards. So I've had turns where I draw 5 cards on my opponent's turn. And it seems kind of weird to, go down to 4 life that early on. But the deck can maintain hand size really well. So if you get a big hand size early, you maintain that throughout the rest of the game.
Also, in my opinion, drawing down to 4 life is really good on certain leaders nowadays because there's a lot of decks that won't hit you past 5. Like, there are those control decks that'll leave you at 5 life to turn off super combos.
Yeah.
Like,
no super combo.
Drawing down to 4 is a very good thing in my opinion. So I mean, you can turn on your super combos without having to wait for your opponent to attack you.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk about that because I'm gonna do closing thoughts, I guess, on the baby. But the reason I like decks like that is because if people don't know how to play around them, or people haven't, because when you go to a store champ or when you go to a big tournament, even, I think people prepare a lot of times for the decks they're gonna see, and then they get bodied because like round 1 on a big event. And round 1 and round 2 are insane. Because you're playing like Samasu from set 7. You're playing like Bardock from set 3. I don't know, shit, crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the fuck does this do? Or you're playing Finn or the board.
I'm going to test against these 4 or 5 decks. Because this is what I'm going to see. And then you go, you get defeated in the first like 3 rounds because you play a bunch of like fringe meta decks.
Exactly. I think
that's something that's always been the thing with all card games is that people will focus on the meta. But like in my testing, how I play is I like to go on Discord and just ask people like, play me with any deck. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, in this game specifically, this isn't like Yu-Gi-Oh. Where in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you see an off-meta deck, it's shit typically, because that's how it is in that game. In this game, any deck with the right pilot can be good.
Yeah.
If you're a good enough pilot, you can make any deck work.
And I've seen it, and it's like also not just that, but like if you're trained, like if you have a deck like for example Baby, and you have a good idea on how to beat good players that are playing these other colors, and like you can be well poised, and that's what happened to you. You know what I mean? Like you know how we play, and we have a really good. I think I'm pretty good at red. I think there's other players that are good at green. That are good at yellow. Like Nico was playing yellow trunks that day. We had Diego. We have Cannerman today was playing Cell. I mean, we have good players that are playing their color. Like, and so my closing thoughts are: if you're playing Baby, or if you want to play a deck that's not one of those 4 to 5 main leaders, and you want to play something that catches people off guard a little bit, maybe Baby's one of them. Maybe, and I think that Baby is also a deck that like has like 10 different builds. Alex is a very unique build, I think, like to mine. I think like he adapted really well to the errata. Alex, I'll go to you next. What do you have any closing thoughts on Baby?
I mean, like it's just you play it very safe and then you explode on them later. It's kind of like SS4 ramp in the thought process where you want to explode on later turns, but you're not actually ramping. You're just sitting there negating everything until you get to the turns where they've used all their resources, and then you're just gonna punch them really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
playing Mayweather.
Focus on deck out as a way of winning. Deck out's a secondary. Like maybe I'll get it with the King Colds late game. But
Mayweather.deck. Thomas, any thoughts? Yeah, any final thoughts you have on this deck, on these type of leaders, or anything at all? Maybe.
I did have one question. I don't know if like it just got slipped over or if I missed it. I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is. Like, is there a reason why you don't play the token negate? Is it because you can't combo it away just in case they stop swinging?
So yeah, pretty much that's the case. Because okay, so
if you play a card, you want to be able to combo it away and you can't. So I kind of guess that.
So yeah, if I play a card, I want it to be able to get gone. The token negate has no combo power, so I can't even combo it. It's not even a 0 combo. I can't combo that thing. Also, I can't even get rid of it with Kami because Kami says 4 or less, so it can't get rid of tokens because it doesn't have a cost. So the token becomes literally just I can't play the game. Yeah. The hardest game I've had playing this deck was against was someone here in the VSA Discord the other day. It was Martian, I think. He was playing Android 21.
Oh,
you understand
yeah.
the headache I had playing when I had tokens on my board? I couldn't do shit. Well, I could do shit, but it was annoying. Trust me. I won that game surprisingly because he was playing some weird ass blue-green hand control Android 21 list. But if I played against like an actual like meta built Android 21 deck that was like doing Android 21 things, I probably would have lost it because they were just giving me bodies. Like if you can give this deck bodies, because there's some decks that do that, like fucking King Vegeta Young Invaders will give me bodies that I won't appreciate. I'll be upset about those.
Hell yeah. So if you guys are watching from home, what do you guys think about his list? I'm going to go back to it real quick. Would you add anything to it? Go to the comments down below. Let us know what you think about it. What would you do? What would you do differently? Would you still play this leader? What do you think are some good decks to play against it? And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.